Darnell Washington is not the headline maker in Pittsburgh. He's not the guy whose jersey floods the stands or who dominates highlight reels on national television. But over the past 2 weeks, something has started to shift. Something real. The kind of shift that doesn't come with a bunch of noise or hype, but one that happens on the field, in the trenches, snap after snap. Because while most eyes have been focused on the stats of George Pickens, the mystery of Calvin Austin's role, or even the surprising productivity, or lack thereof, from Jonnu Smith, quietly, Darnell Washington has been carving out something of his own. A role, an identity, a presence. Now, you look at the raw numbers for the season, and it might not blow your mind at first glance. 6 catches. That's it. Just 6. But here's where the numbers start telling a different story. All 6 came in the last 2 games. And in both of those games, Washington played close to 80% of the offensive snaps. That's not a fluke. That's a plan. That's a deliberate decision being made by this coaching staff. As Mike Tomlin himself likes to say, 2 is a trend, and this is a trend. Let's be clear. This is not a hype train. This is not us saying Darnell is the second coming of Rob Gronkowski or the reincarnation of Heath Miller. But what it actually is a glimpse into what happens when a guy with rare physical gifts starts to understand his role, gain confidence, and finally get used correctly within a system. Because there's one thing about Darnell that can't be denied. He can do things most human beings simply cannot. He's a physical outlier, and in the National Football League, that's a massive deal. Blocking? He's elite. You put Darnell on the field, and you instantly win battles at the line of scrimmage. And if you've watched the Steelers' offense over the last 5 years, you know exactly how rare and valuable that is. Pittsburgh has struggled, like really struggled, to dominate at the point of attack. And while offensive line play gets most of the attention in that area, a tight end who can seal an edge, move bodies, and create leverage the way Darnell does is game-changing. It's the kind of trait that should have earned him a bigger slice of this offense a long time ago. But something shifted this season, and the shift became more visible after the team's trip to Ireland. Something about that experience, that game plan, that vibe, whatever it was, opened a door. Darnell walked through it. Against the Browns, you saw it. You felt it. First offensive snap of the game. Jim Schwartz stacks the box with 10 defenders within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. The message from Cleveland was loud and clear. We dare you to throw it. And what do the Steelers do? They line up in a base formation. Darnell is lined up to Broderick Jones' left, right where you'd expect in a traditional power set. Nothing unusual. Nothing fancy. But then it happens. Arthur Smith dials up something beautiful. Washington slips off the line and breaks free behind everyone. Just glides into space like a runaway train with soft hands. And Aaron Rodgers? He puts the ball right on him. That wasn't a fluke. That wasn't a gimmick. That was trust. Trust in Washington to execute the route. Trust in his ability to adjust. And trust in the idea that this guy, this massive mountain of a man tight end, is more than just a blocker. For longtime fans of this team, it might have felt familiar. It might have stirred some echoes of Eric Green. Green was a monster, a rare breed of tight end who could catch, turn, and rumble downfield like a freight train. But as good as Green was, he wasn't this. Not as a blocker. Not with this kind of consistent impact on the line. That's where Darnell is different. That's where he's already reached elite status. And now he's starting to show signs of what he can be as a pass catcher too. That's when things get really interesting. He's running crisper routes. He's coming back to the ball. He's getting separation. Maybe not with speed, but with intelligence, with angles, with power. And then after the catch, he's making guys think twice about going for the big hit. Watch the tape. Watch defenders bail on tackles when they see the steamrolling come their way. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's fear. That's business decisions being made in real time. That's respect. But here's the thing that makes this rise even more impressive. Darnell's development didn't stall after the team brought in Jonnu Smith. If anything, it accelerated. When Smith arrived, there were questions, loud ones. What happens now with all these tight ends? Where does Pat Freiermuth fit in? Does this team even have room for 3 starting caliber tight ends? But Washington didn't flinch. Not once. And if you were paying attention at St. Vincent College this summer, you saw it. After the Smith trade, there was no panic from Darnell, no drop in intensity, no sign that the coaches had shifted gears or pulled back on their investment in him. In fact, it was just the opposite. Everything pointed to this guy being groomed for a bigger role. And now here it is, in a league that's always looking for matchup nightmares, guys who create problems just by stepping on the field. Darnell is becoming one of those problems. Because when you line him up, what do? Put a linebacker on him and risk getting beat on a route? Put a safety on him and risk getting bulldozed in the run game? Either way, you're losing. That's the evolution we're witnessing right now. And somehow, it feels like it's flying under the radar. Because while we're all trying to solve the wide receiver 2 puzzle, who's going to step up behind Metcalf, whether Calvin Austin will ever be healthy enough to matter, or if Roman Wilson is ready for real reps, this tight end room is quietly stacking wins. Connor Hayward just pulled in a gorgeous touchdown last weekend. Jonnu's still a legit threat. And Pat, well, his future might be in flux, but you can't say the guy doesn't have talent. But the one who's standing out, the one who's earning more time, more trust, more plays, it's Darnell. And that trust isn't just from the fans or the media. It's from the people that matter, the coaches and the quarterback. Arthur Smith has been steady. He hasn't blinked. He hasn't wavered. He's kept Darnell involved even when the numbers weren't there. And Rodgers? He's no fool. He knows what a weapon looks like. And he knows that having a guy like Darnell lined up next to Broderick Jones might be the key to both protecting himself and opening up the field. There's a reason Rodgers is looking his way more. That's not by accident. So while the offense is still trying to find balance, still trying to figure out how to survive without a traditional wide receiver too, Darnell is making a case that maybe, just maybe, he's the piece that changes how we even define this offense. Maybe you don't need to force a slot receiver into an outside role. Maybe you don't need to panic about trade targets or chase names. Maybe the answer is already in the building, and he wears number 80. And look, this offense has not been perfect. Far from it. It's had rough patches. It's had inconsistency. But if there's one silver lining in the last 2 weeks, it's Darnell Washington becoming a real, tangible part of the game plan. Not just a blocker, not just a decoy, a contributor, a difference maker, a guy who might just be scratching the surface of what he can become in this league. And as we dive deeper into the Steelers' offensive makeup, it becomes more obvious that Darnell Washington's rise isn't just a nice little subplot. It's a potential solution to a bigger issue, one that's been quietly dragging this team down for a while now. The lack of a consistent, dependable second wide receiver. For over a year, this has been the elephant in the room. Week after week, game after game, there's been a lingering question that nobody has really answered. Who steps up when the defense keys in on Metcalf? It's not just about filling a roster spot. It's about filling a void in the structure of this offense. Without a WR2, everything changes. The playbook shrinks. The margin for error tightens. Rodgers, as experienced and efficient as he is, can only do so much with limited weapons. Defenses know this. They stack the box, they double Metcalf, and they dare Pittsburgh to beat them with someone else. And to this point, that someone else hasn't consistently existed. Calvin Austin was supposed to be that guy. Fast, shifty, able to stretch the field. But injuries have robbed him of any real rhythm. He's missed practices. He's missed games. And when he does play, he's not the game-changer people hoped he would be. That's not a knock on Austin. He's got potential. But in a league built on weekly performance, potential is only good for so long. And right now, it's not translating. Sunday's box score told a brutal truth. One catch by a wide receiver not named Metcalf. Roman Wilson was the guy who pulled it in. Scotty Miller had opportunities too, but let's be honest, this isn't a group that strikes fear into any secondary. This is the receiving depth Pittsburgh is leaning on, and heading into Cincinnati tomorrow night, that's not changing. No reinforcements, no breakout stars, just this group. And that's where the conversation starts circling back to the tight ends. Because if the wide receivers aren't stepping up, then you better believe the tight ends have to. And they can. They already are. Darnell, Jonnu, even Connor Hayward. This isn't just about scheme anymore. It's about necessity. The Steelers have been forced to evolve, to lean into the idea of a tight end-heavy approach, not because it's trendy, but because it's their best option. It's a strange evolution for an offense that, for years, was defined by elite wide receiver play. Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, even back to the Hines Ward days, Pittsburgh has always been a wide receiver town. But that's not who they are right now. Not with this roster. Not with this setup. And that's okay. Teams change. Identities shift. And this team, like it or not, is becoming one where tight ends carry a heavier load. And among them, Darnell Washington is starting to emerge as the centerpiece. You could feel against Cleveland, not just on the stat sheet, but in the energy, the way the Browns approached him, the way Schwartz's defense was forced to adjust mid-game. They didn't account for him, and it cost them. And that's exactly what a rising weapon is supposed to do, force the defense into mistakes. The more you put that on tape, the more it changes how teams prepare for you. And that's where Darnell's value goes beyond receptions and yards. It's about presence, about gravity. And it's not just the opposing defense feeling it. The coaching staff knows. Arthur Smith knows. That's why we've seen more packages designed specifically to get Darnell in space. That's why he's being lined up off the line, motioned across formations, used in ways that create mismatches. Because when you have a guy that big, that athletic, and that willing to do the dirty work, you find ways to make him part of the solution. And Rodgers? Rodgers gets it. You can see it in his reads. You can see it in the way he doesn't hesitate to go to Darnell when the pocket collapses or when a play breaks down. That trust, that connection, it matters. Especially on a team where WR2 is still a revolving door. Darnell is becoming a safety net. A reliable check down who can turn a short route into a chunk play with one stiff arm and 3 broken tackles. Now, some might argue this team still needs to go out and find a wide receiver before the trade deadline. And yes, the rumors are out there. Omar Khan has been looking. He hasn't stopped. Not for a second. He knows what happened last year when George Pickens went down and there was no backup plan. He's not going to let that happen again if he can help it. But trades are unpredictable. Timing is everything. You never know what other teams are thinking until the final hours. Some might be holding out for more value. Others might not be ready to sell just yet. So as the front office keeps working the phones, the team has to keep working with what it has. And what it has, right now, is a collection of tight ends that can absolutely carry the offense if used the right way. Jonnu Smith, for all the confusion around his role, still brings experience and production. Connor Hayward is finding his moments and making the most of them. And Darnell? Darnell is evolving right before our eyes. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most jaw-dropping moves of the offseason, whispers around the league suggest that Derrick Henry, the unstoppable force of Tennessee, might be heading to Pittsburgh. If true, this is not just a signing. It could rewrite the way the Steelers approach the ground game for years to come. Sources close to the organization hint that negotiations have been quietly progressing, and the excitement among fans is palpable even before an official announcement. Henry, known for his rare combination of size, speed, and sheer power, has terrorized defenses for years. In Pittsburgh, a city that has long celebrated its blue-collar, smash-mouth football, the addition of a back like Henry could feel almost poetic. Imagine a back who consistently bulldozes through the line, wears down defenders, and changes the rhythm of the offense just by his presence. The Steelers' ground attack, which has been solid but unspectacular in recent seasons, would suddenly have a new identity, one defined by dominance, endurance, and intimidation. Rumors suggest the front office is not just looking for production. They are envisioning a full-scale transformation. With Henry in the backfield, Pittsburgh could control time of possession like never before, giving their quarterback breathing room and forcing opposing defenses into a punishing chess match. Analysts speculate that the team could tailor its offensive line strategy around his unique skill set, creating a system where Derrick Henry is not merely a piece, but the centerpiece. Social media is already ablaze with speculation. Fans have started crafting highlight reels, imagining the collisions, the breakaway runs, and the sheer spectacle of Henry bulldozing past defenders at Heinz Field. Even rival teams are reportedly taking notice, quietly recalculating how they would game plan against the Steelers' offense with a running back of this caliber. Whether or not this deal materializes, the mere rumor has sent shockwaves through the NFL. Derrick Henry in black and gold is a tantalizing vision of football brutality and strategy, and if it happens, it might just redefine the Steelers' identity for the next era. The league is watching, fans are buzzing, and the possibilities are thrillingly endless. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.